and create the platform to hear your silent and unheard views in this hugely growing community in the United Kingdom. Our channel, Ben TV, presents to you another live current affairs television program. Our focus on the program is to review and discuss issues around the diaspora community in the UK. The program offers you that unrestricted voice on issues affecting you in the UK. Join us live every Monday at 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Thank you for joining us on the program today. My name is Tunde Alabe. This beautiful Monday morning. It's a pleasure to have you join us on the show. Today we will be going to, we do hope that we'll be getting to 3 countries. We were planning to go to Congo and take a look at what is happening in Congo, which we call Congo, the rich nation, and invaded people. It is not news that so many things are happening in the Congo at the moment. Very rich country with huge natural deposits, but very poor people. A nation that has been invaded by other countries like Rwanda and a host of other African nations, tapping and cutting away the resources of the people, ripping their wives, their family, and the president also not helping matter. That is the president of the Republic of Congo, also not helping matter as it relates to its country. We also hope to go to Kenya, where we'll be taking a look at the update on Kenya election after the president Uhuru Kenyatta was declared winner of that election that was held just last week. And of course there has been an eruption of violence in the city after that election, and we thought we were going to end with issues around Nigeria. You will know that towards the end of last week, President Muhammadu Buhari hosted State House media crew, where the president said even though he had wished to return to Nigeria, however, it is only his doctors that can determine when he will go back to Nigeria. And so this is where we're starting the program tomorrow, based on President Muhammadu Buhari's statement that it is only his doctors, British doctors, not Nigerian doctors. British doctors are the one that will determine when he will go home. This is the question. Whose interest? Is it in the interest of the British doctors or the interest of Nigerians? And this is the analysis we want to do. We know that President Muhammadu Buhari is in the best hand in the United Kingdom, is getting the best treatment in the United Kingdom, and the man is making very good recovery, as we have been told. Very awesome. We're very happy, and we keep praying. Nigerians are praying, and we will continue to pray for the president's speedy recovery. However, the concern Nigerians have is the president leaving the decision about his return to Nigeria in the hands of foreign medical practitioners, knowing fully well, we do know fully well, that the president has been receiving treatment not in NHS hospital. We do know that very well. The president has been receiving the best medical care in one of the best private British hospitals here in the city of London. And so if these doctors who are earning pound sterling for the treatment of the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria are the ones that will determine when the president will return to Nigeria, will these doctors, British private medical doctors, earning pound sterling on a daily basis, probably in his hundreds of pounds sterling, to take care of Nigeria's president, will they release him? And at what point will they release him? 2 conditions. Once they release him, the money will stop flowing, probably. So whose interest are we protecting there? The interest of the British doctors who are earning hundreds of thousands of pounds sterling, treating Nigeria's president abroad, or the interest of Nigerians whose money is being used to take care of our president, whose interest is being protected? So many people have come up with several ideas about the money issue involved in looking after President Muhammadu Buhari in British hospital, especially the president's statement that only British doctors would determine when he will go back to Nigeria. whose interest? So we'll be taking a look at on the program today. You'll be allowed to join our discussion to say, in this program, British doctors determining when President Muhammadu Buhari will return to Nigeria. Whose interest? The British doctors' interest? Whose money will be stored as soon as the president returns? Or Nigerians' interest, who daily are funding this treatment? And there's poverty in the land. I'm joined this morning by a publisher, an advocate of good government, and a political analyst. He is popularly known in the political sector, especially within the political sector in the United Kingdom, especially at the Nigerian House, at the Devil's Advocate. I'm joined this morning by Mr. Frank Bello. Frank Bello, thank you for joining us on the program.
Oh, thank you, Tunde. It's nice to have you back on Ben Television with some of my provocative thoughts, which, as you know, it's the truth, but the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Awesome. Good to have you back. It's been
Yeah.
a long time. Great. Over the weekend, President Muhammadu Buhari, of course, we now know that the president has been in the United Kingdom now for more than
90 days.
No,
over 90
absolutely,
days.
Over 90 days.
Yes.
As of last week,
Which was
Monday,
why,
it was 91 days.
Charlie
now.
Boy was advocating for the return.
It should be about 97 or 98 days. We'll confirm that in a couple of minutes
Yes.
now. And the president hosted media team
At Abuja House.
at Abuja House, London. And the president says he wished to return to Nigeria, but only British doctors will determine when he will go back to Nigeria. How do you assess that statement?
The first thing we have to try and sift out of President Muhammadu Buhari's statement is that, was it the British medical doctors that gave him the mandate to rule the Nigerian people, or the Nigerian people who gave President Muhammadu Buhari a contract to rule over them? Now, let's look at it this way. If the British Prime Minister, Theresa May, or Her Majesty, the Queen of England, if they are sick or if something happened to these top people in this country, the whole world, the whole media around the whole world will beam their cameras around the royal family.
Especially for this long period of time.
That's right. Now, the moment they'll go in there, the doctors are ready, the royal family, they even use the same NHS created by Her Majesty's government, not a private doctors. We saw situations whereby Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, was admitted into the hospital recently and was treated in the same NHS hospital that was created by Her Majesty's government. Now, I see no reasons why the British medical doctors should determine that, oh, we will release the president for you Nigerians to return home based on our own orders. Now, I got some information out from the media briefing at Abuja House that in the past, President Muhammadu Buhari, being a military dictator at the time, was used to giving orders. And now, Muhammadu Buhari is now receiving orders from the doctors. I think this is totally wrong. Look, I campaigned effortlessly to make sure that Goodluck Jonathan was toppled at the time. I was an advocate and I supported Muhammadu Buhari, which you and many people saw. And I predicted very accurately on this same news channel that Muhammadu Buhari will become the next president. Now, one thing that really disturbed me was the fact that why did Muhammadu Buhari declared his health conditions at the time to tell the whole world that, look, this was what I was having to battle with, and this is my health conditions. I would be unable. If Nigerians knew at the time that Muhammadu Buhari was incapable of ruling them, and that just immediately or a year after he was elected as president, all these health issues will crop up. Now, it's brought the issue of governance in the entire nation to a standstill. I wish you know exactly what is really happening. And I wish you know exactly the sort of people that I am really helping in Nigeria, obviously due to the incompetence of this current administration. I'm not saying the PDP are really good, because we're still reaping the bad governance that the PDP government left behind. Fine, people will say, oh, but Muhammadu Buhari is still fighting corruption. But Muhammadu Buhari, let me tell you, Muhammadu Buhari cannot be fighting corruption in one hand and then neglect the economy of the nation on the other hand. Now, we all know that Nigeria is a very tough country to govern. We've got his cabal. I was told that two people within his cabal are the people dictating. Anytime this man is away, the country is a little bit stable with Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. Now look at when the same President Muhammadu Buhari was leaving the country as at that time. The sort of wording that was contained in the handover letter of power to the Vice President was absolutely incorrect. Muhammadu Buhari never delegated power fully to the acting president to act on his behalf. This, look, we've got constitutional crisis in the country, and I see no reasons why British Medical Council or medical doctors should be dictating to Nigerians that, oh, they will release their president for them
let me put a hold on that. But these are doctors that are managing the health of Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari. In actual fact, professionally speaking, I think doctors should be the one to determine when someone is healthy enough to be discharged or not healthy enough not to be discharged.
Did you listen to what Rochas Okorocha said on Channels TV?
No.
That the president, he was surprised that the president was not even in the hospital, that he was in his home, Abuja House, and that the president has been advised by medical doctors to be taking his multivitamin tablets. I want you to rewind and revisit Rochas Okorocha's statement. Multivitamin tablets. So those multivitamin tablets cannot be packed into the presidential aircraft parked in London and then taken to Nigeria for Mr. President to be taken in Nigeria. Come on. There's a lot more to this issue. And you see, what I am looking at is the fact that President Muhammadu Buhari, fine, the man is ill, he's sick, but he's probably running away from the political tension in the country. We've got the Biafra, the agitation for Biafra. We've got the Oduduwa Republic agitation. We've got the Niger Delta militant. We've got Asari Dokubo in South advocating, supporting the Biafra agitation. Look, let us call a spade a spade. This man, if he knows that he is incapable of ruling that country, I'm supporting Charlie Boy, in the fact that he must resign. He must tread the path of honor by resigning his post due to incapacitation.
But still on his health issue. I mean, some have said the British doctors advised Mr. President to be taking his rest. I mean, you just said that the Imo State government did say that he should be taking multivitamin. Some have said he needed rest. But the question still remains, which I'm still putting to you. The condition of Mr. President, according to Mr. President, is going to be determined by British doctors.
Tunde, come on. Why should the British medical doctors
Because they're probably going to be the one to tell us whether he's fit or is, as far as he's concerned now, he's unfit because the doctors have not given him, according to him, order to go.
I mentioned that order in my last
So he's not received an order to go.
Now, listen. The president is not resident in a Harley Street hospital. The president is living right inside the Abuja house. Now, why can't...
From where probably doctors attend to him, or he goes to get his...
Why...
He moves from his house to hospitals for his treatment.
The question is, why can't they fly these same doctors to
What about the equipment?
Aso Rock is well equipped. The clinic right inside that villa is even well equipped.
4.6 billion, 4.6 billion naira appropriated to Aso Rock clinic. Only that Aso
that clinic inside the villa is well equipped, far more than the same hospital in Harley Street.
No, how do we determine whether it is that money has been appropriated in its billions does not mean they are equipped?
They are. I know for a fact because I have met with doctors who told me emphatically that this treatment can be carried out right inside the Aso Rock. Now, if the president is not sure or if he's afraid of Nigerian medical doctors treating him for fear of being poisoned or being injected with something else, all these experts from England can be flown into the country. Let me give you another instance. The former president of Ghana was ill. He was never flown abroad for medical treatment. He was treated right inside Ghana. Right inside Ghana. So, look, something is wrong here.
Is something wrong? What that thing that is wrong is when we open the phone line, I do agree with you something is wrong. But when we open the phone line, you will see the barrage of inconsistency, barrage of disagreement among Nigerians in the UK, across the world. That is to say, that which is wrong, is it really with Nigerians? Because there seems to be no coordination. While some do agree that Mr. President does deserve his rest and his medical leave and should be allowed his time, some are of the opinion that this is happening at the expense of Nigerians.
Today, can I put this through to you? Was Mr. President elected to be president of Nigeria to rest or to govern? In a situation whereby there are crises, the president comes out, address the nation. Look, we will look into this. We've seen what's going on in America. Very soon Nigeria will say, oh, we're a young democracy, but then they will say, oh, we're following the pattern of the American presidential system of government. Recently we saw, yesterday or a day before, we saw the massacre in the United States. And straight on the spot, we saw Donald Trump coming up and addressing both sides. The two factions that were involved in the tragedy. In the case of our own president, Muhammadu Buhari, this man his mouth will be sealed. He needs to talk. He needs to communicate with people, not communicating through Lai Mohammed or through his media spokesman. Nigerians want to hear from their president. Tell me, since the president has been in the United Kingdom receiving that same medical treatment, when have we seen Mr. President addressing the nation, even to tell us about the state of his health? If the Queen, or again, the Queen, the Duke of Edinburgh, or the British Prime Minister, or somebody else who is polemic as well in the United Kingdom, are on such treatment, the whole world, they will address us. They will tell us. They will thank the whole country for supporting them in their prayers. We've not heard one single statement from the president of Nigeria addressing the Nigerian people. Nigeria is in a comatose.
Okay, all right. We're still talking about the issue of President Muhammad, but as we did promise you on this program, that we will continue to highlight issues around President Muhammadu Buhari of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Nigeria being one of the most highly endowed nations of the world, the largest population in Africa, and one of the largest black populations in the world, with his president out of the country for over now 98 days out of the country without any Nigerian knowing what is happening. There have been demonstrations, protests across Nigeria, and in fact, even here in the United Kingdom, just last week, there was a protest that the president should either resign or return to Nigeria. And on this program, as a news channel, as a current affairs program, and moderator, and the voice of the people, and the watchdog, we say we will keep tab on Mr. President's situation in London. Even though we are here in London, they know that we are voice of Nigerians in London. The presidency and the president did not deem it fit to invite, if they are afraid to invite international media, the presidency and the president did not deem it fit to invite Nigerian own voice in London, but they decided to fly into London, the media, the president's media crew. We have got no grudge against that, but what we're saying is the president, Nigerians need to know what is happening to their presidents. The presidents need to talk to Nigerians, and the president need to take decision about his state of health. The president needs to let us know what is going on around him. And that's what we're saying. And we say we will continue to highlight and keep a tab on issues around the president without taking sides. We do know that there are people across board in the United Kingdom, in America, in Nigeria, that are strongly divided about the state of health of Mr. President. But what we're saying is we will keep a tab and continue to highlight the situation around Mr. President until something concrete happens, or that we see the president come on the program, or we hear the president talk to Nigerians via this channel, or the president returns to Nigeria. But the fact that the president said it is only British doctors that will determine when he's going to Nigeria, and that is the question we are highlighting today. At whose expense? Who is paying the bill? So if British doctors are saying we will keep you for the next 3 months, whose interest? Who is paying the bill? How much does the president, how much does Nigeria pay per hour, per minute, per second, per day to keep the president on a sick bed in British hospitals, paying the doctor? There are things Nigerians need to know, and we cannot just be kept blank. No, it cannot happen in a nation where we think things must be done right. It must be done absolutely right. We're not taking sides here. We're praying for Mr. President's quick recovery, but Nigerians are asking questions. What is going on in terms of financial commitment of Nigeria into Mr. President's health care in London? British doctors cannot keep taking money and say to Nigerians or to Nigeria's president, we'll keep collecting this money until we've taken enough or until we certify the president fit. And yet, nobody is telling Nigerians how much is being spent on Mr. President per hour, per day, per second, per minute, or per month on keeping him in the United Kingdom. 98 days, no mention of what is going on, and we'll say we'll continue to highlight this as the watchdog on this program. We're not going to be doing any more talk. We'll throw it to you to also contribute to the program. The phone line is open. At whose expense will the British doctors continue to keep President Muhammadu Buhari? Joining me, as usual, on the show talking about this issue is Mr. Frank Bello, a publisher in the United Kingdom. Mr. Frank, thank you for being here again one more time. I think before we continue, a couple of minutes now, we'll go on a short break. But let's look at this further. We don't know the financial input, the financial value of what is going on. And nobody is telling us anything. Should this say this is right?
It is not right, because look, the problem we have right now, I think I've made some of this problem known in some of my Facebook podcast. You see, today there is a lacuna within the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And not until that lacuna is covered up,
but the National Assembly is not ready to cover up any error or any blank space in terms of. I mean, the National Assembly just reviewed the constitutions and they make some amendment.
For their own personal gain.
That amendment did not include how long. They know, the National Assembly knows that the Constitution does not make provision for how long the president can stay out of office or can stay out of the country. Yet, the National Assembly did not make any recommendation regarding that. Yeah. So that cannot be sorted out immediately.
Now, look, they said they've recovered X amount of money from Dizani. They've recovered X amount of money.
They keep telling us how much has been recovered.
Now, is this money that's been recovered, the stolen loot that's been recovered by these corrupt politicians that they're now using to treat Mr. President on one hand? On the other hand, is Mr. President himself trying to embezzle money through Esther Code, because for him to be in England,
He'll be getting a star code?
yeah, I'm telling you the truth.
On medical leave?
That is it. He
No,
will.
working, he's on leave.
And he will, well, Nigerians are still paying for that. And don't forget, his ministers, the Senate president, politicians coming to visit him.
They get Esther Code.
They're draining the resources of that country back again. Now, we've got many people, too many people suffering in that country. I know from my own small little pocket, from what I earn, how I help a lot. Look, as I'm talking to you, leaving this studio today, now, after this program, I'm still going to wire up something to somebody who's been begging me profusely for the last 3 weeks. There is suffering in Nigeria, and that suffering in Nigeria is affecting those of us who are in the diaspora, because if we don't help them, they'll say, oh, he's a bad person. He's not good. So they're stealing our money away. They're stealing our resources away. This money, the resources that is meant to cater for those who are in Nigeria, is being spent on just one man, his cabal, and his ministers, and his politicians.
But still, we're still talking about at whose expense?
At the expense of Nigerians.
At the expense of Nigeria.
At
Are this treatment free?
They're not free.
How much is it? Shouldn't Nigerians be told how much is being spent? If we are talking about a president who got elected on the platform of his integrity, on the platform of his accountability, on the platform of his sincerity, we are not doubting any of that. We are not. It is not in the position of our channel to cast aspersion on this. We are not. We're leaving this to Nigerians to decide. But shouldn't that integrity be played out on how much is being spent on this treatment?
Today, the doctors treating your president, my president, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria are Harley Street doctors. Harley Street doctors are not cheap. Harley Street doctors are doctors used by the royal family of Saudi Arabia, the Sultan of Brunei, if rich multi-billionaires in the whole world.
Dollars.
These are the doctors treating. They are the finest and the finest of British medical doctors. They're not cheap.
Okay, I've got Arinze on the line. Arinze, good morning. Thank you for joining us on the show. Where are you calling from? Good morning, Arinze. Good morning, Arinze. Good morning,
Hello,
Arinze.
good morning. I'm calling from Newcastle. Good morning. I can hear you. I'm calling from Newcastle.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today. We are looking at President Muhammadu Buhari's statement last week when he said only British doctors are the one that will determine when he will return to Nigeria. And we are saying on this program, at whose expense will these private doctors of the finest and of the most expensive in the world leave our president? At whose expense? Go ahead, Arinze. Go on, Arinze. Arinze, are you there?
Yeah, exactly. I've been following the discussion, and I can tell you actually that the whole thing has actually been very, very mixed. Yeah, I can hear you. It has been very pathetic because we can't actually come to terms with the fact that the president left the country and then no account was given about his health status up till now. I think that is unacceptable by Nigerians. The president is a public citizen and has the right to disclose his health status to Nigerians. There is nothing wrong with the British doctors saying, how long he will stay or how long he will not stay. The fact is this: I heard the invited guest on the program saying about the former president of Ghana who was treated right in Ghana. I think the president could have been treated in Nigeria. I believe we have the expertise to treat him in Nigeria. And so, right from the onset, there is no reason for him to travel outside the country. And if he must travel, then he has to brief Nigeria intermittently on his health status. Rather, what we've seen so far is that governors leave from Nigeria to pay him, visit, and they come back with nothing to tell Nigerians. That is unacceptable. I mean, Nigeria can't be run like this in the contemporary times. So, the presidency, they have a Nigerians what is happening to the president because he was elected publicly. I think that's what I have to say. So far, what we've seen is totally unacceptable. And then the protest in Nigeria was actually met with hostility by the police, which is unacceptable. So that means Nigerians don't have the right to demand what is happening to the president. I mean, this can only happen only in Nigeria and nowhere else in the country. Thank you so much.
All right, Rinze, thank you so much from calling in from Newcastle. Thank you for expressing your opinion. Of course, we are not in any way questioning the issue about the doctors determining when the president will leave or not leave. But what we are asking, the question we are asking is, what does it cost Nigeria? Because, of course, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is not receiving this medical treatment on his own personal account. Nigerians are paying for this treatment. We don't know. But we say, what does it cost Nigeria to keep the president here perpetually, indefinitely? We don't know. And that's what we're saying. Should Nigerians not be told something?
Today, don't be surprised when all the records come into public domain that the cost of treating our president in the United Kingdom for such a prolonged time will run into its billions.
Of pounds sterling?
Of sterling, yes, not dollars. At the very top of my head.
I mean, as far as you're concerned, in your own analysis, he's been treated by Hollywood Street doctors, the finest, the most expensive anywhere in the world.
These doctors are the finest and the most, when I say finest, they're the finest and the most expensive doctors in the whole world.
All right, I've got Gazama. Gazama, thank you for joining us. Good morning, Gazama. Go ahead and make your point.
Yeah, good morning, Tunde.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I want to, based on our diversity and our nature and tribalism, everything in Nigeria, why are Igbos agitating today? Because they don't have president. Why are Middle Belts agitating sometimes? Because they've not done that. We just need to work within we just have to understand our differences. Anybody that is complaining for the absence of Buhari is either that person is greedy or undermine the capacity of the acting president. You cannot get. I mean, if in my opinion, he is the best ever vice president that anyone would choose to be his deputy.
But Kazama, we are not on the program today. We are not talking about the capability or not of the vice president. We are talking about Mr. President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu being in the United Kingdom, and only British doctors determining when he will leave. We're saying at whose expense? Don't you have the right, as a Nigerian, do you not deserve the right to know what is wrong with your president?
Yes.
Is your money, our money, Nigerian public money being used to keep him here? Shouldn't Nigerian be told?
Compared to money that was stolen, this is a peanut. He is a property of Nigerian citizens.
Okay, it doesn't matter, Gazama, yes. Whatever thing is used to treat the president here is peanuts. But should Nigerians not be told the quality or the quantity of these peanuts?
Of course, they should tell, but we celebrate these thieves. They stole money from us.
Why? So who is stealing what now, Gazama? Who is stealing what now? The thieves who stole from Nigeria.
Our public officers.
Okay, our public officers.
We celebrate them when they come. We don't ask them, but we ask of hospital bills. I mean, that is the hypocrisy of Nigeria. Dizani is here now. How many people call to say, what is Dizani doing? With which money is he treating herself? They cannot ask.
But Dizani today is being exposed for our corrupt attitude. Okay,
yes.
So everything is coming into public light.
Did anyone carry placard? What is Dizani here? She must go back. I mean, we should look at all these things and begin to define it the way it is. You know, I'm not this person of I don't. It's not that I agree with.
So Gazama, you just said that anybody that is asking questions around Mr. President's being in the UK and his treatment is
They
greedy
they have right
and
to ask.
undermining the vice president. Are you
kind of
sure of that
passion-
statement?
Let me tell you, the kind of passion that if some PDP sympathizers call, when I say PDP, you have PDP.
So everyone asking questions.
They
So
do it with. It's not about
so
questions. We don't
Gazama,
want
so
to-
everyone asking questions about Mr. President's state of health, why he's in the UK for how long, they are PDP sympathizers.
Let me tell
So
you.
no, wait, take that question. So everyone now asking questions, they are PDP sympathizers. Is that what you're saying?
Can I say one thing? Let me dip into our hypocrisy. Why is it that if some people say something, then it will not carry weight? Oh, they have been marginalized, of which all of us are
No,
marginalized.
Gazama, we are not talking about marginalization here.
Anybody wants some set of people say something, then it will be taken serious. This is the problem.
So are you saying we shouldn't take the issue of Mr.
We
President's
must ask
health
issue of
and medical
Buhari,
tourism
but I
abroad
think
serious? Are you
should
saying
pray
it
for
is not
him.
serious?
We should wait. He did not break any law, and the governance is going on, and that is the only thing. Does it mean Buhari is not alive? Nigeria will not move on. There is somebody there.
All right, okay, Gazama. Okay, Gazama, thanks a lot. To the
Thank you very much.
points Gazama made here. Say anybody asking questions. Okay, let me leave that. Go on. Yeah.
I think from what your last caller was saying, it is very obvious that your last caller is probably affiliated to the ruling party, the APC. So, but PDP or no PDP, APC or no APC, I am not in support on any of this government. All I want, as you know, is good governance.
But will Gazama be right by saying anybody asking questions around Mr. President's health or staying in the UK is greedy?
He's probably one of those who's, like I said, who's probably a card-carrying member of the APC. I wouldn't know, but from the way he's been talking, he's probably affiliated to.
But even if he's affiliated to a party, should this be a party issue?
In some ways, yes, because it is a party issue. Because
No,
APC,
should party sentiment override the national interest of Nigeria?
but
That's what I'm saying.
that is exactly what we're seeing in this scenario.
Okay, let me take Tunji. Tunji, thank you for calling on the show. Tunji, you're calling from where?
I'm calling from Manchester.
All right, go ahead, Tunji.
Yeah, I would like to make a contribution. My contribution goes with, I want to say it now. The gentleman out there was saying about
Which gentleman, the last caller, Gazama, or my guest in the studio?
No, this is Tunji.
No, which you said gentleman, which gentleman, the last caller or my guest
No,
in the studio?
the gentleman in the studio, Mr. Frank Bello.
Okay.
Yeah. What actually happened is that when you're saying that if anything happens to the president or Queen of England or something, Queen will not come out to tell people that I'm sick or something is wrong with me. It's only the media. I mean, that's why he has the press secretary. They have the ministers or something that will come out to come and say that. That's one. You can't be on your sick bed to hold the mic to tell people that, oh, I'm on my sick bed. This is what is happening to me. That's left for the. That's why they have a press secretary.
The last time the prince was in the hospital, we were told that he was in the hospital over health, respiratory related sickness. We were told the nature of his sickness. It might not be the one talking, but the people of Britain were told the nature of his sickness.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
Okay.
What do you know? What do you know that is wrong with the president of Nigeria? What have you been told about the state of health?
Come to think of it now, everybody keeps coming out to say that, oh, it's in the excess of our money. Ask them, how many of Nigerians paying tax? Because when people want to talk about someone is spending their money, how many Nigerians pay tax in their country? How many Nigerians? This one will come from south side. They will come our oil money. This one will come oil money, and everybody keeps saying that Nigerian money is expensive. What sort of Nigerian money is expensive are they talking about?
So, Tunji,
how much money are they contributing? How much tax are they paying in Nigeria? Only 500 people pay tax in Lagos alone. 500 people. That's not right. So come to think of it, everybody will come to the national telly. Hey, it's on our own money. That's all rubbish.
Okay, so Tunji,
Did you think?
Okay,
to come out to the national to come and start saying all sort of rubbish?
Okay, Tunji, let us assume only one person pays tax in Nigeria. Let's assume it's even only one person. Does that one person not deserve to know what that tax money is being used on? Even if it's only you paying tax in Nigeria. Do you not deserve the right to know how your tax is being spent on somebody? Let us assume only you. Do you not deserve to know, Tunji?
Look, I quite understand. That's what I'm saying.
So why?
Man, man is capacitated to come out.
And this is my question. You said
we was campaigning for the election.
Yes.
When Buhari was the man was agile. The man was active.
Yes.
The man was active. So now everybody, this gentleman, Mr. Babelu, everybody can fall sick at any time, any day.
Okay, I agree with you. We do agree with you.
Campaign. The man was agile, so it can happen to anybody.
Did I not make it known here
Tunji, the
that
issue
I campaign vigorously as well for Muhammadu Buhari?
Okay, Tunji, the issue of the health of anybody, the issue of the health of anybody, we cannot predetermine what will happen. Even as we are here in the studio, we can't predetermine what will happen in the next few minutes. Okay, all right. But when it comes to public money being spent on somebody, shouldn't the people spending the money not know how much, what is going on? Shouldn't they be briefed? Isn't that what should be? That's the question we are asking. Should that not be Tunji? Should that not be Tunji?
In the middle of his treatment, he hasn't finished. Maybe we'll wait until he finishes.
Okay, Tunji, thanks a lot for calling into the studio.
Is it Tunji? Tunji is well. I think he probably used that ghost name because I could pick up a very strong Igbo accent from that.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether Igbo. What I'm saying, but he's got a very strong opinion about it.
What I'm saying here, Tunde, is the fact that we all saw the former presidential candidate, the Republican candidate. McCain,
yes,
diagnosed of having a cancer.
Yes,
recently.
Immediately we were told.
The whole world knew. The whole world knew when he was going into surgery for the treatment.
No, President. Even the Speaker of the House, the Speaker of the House. We knew that we had cancer.
So I mean, what is so special about? Well, I knew the president had a prostate cancer. And
no, we've not been told. You were guessing.
No. I knew he had.
Was that a public statement?
No, it wasn't a public statement.
So we don't know anything.
No, I gathered.
You know because you are an investigative journalist.
Yeah.
But Nigerians, we don't know anything.
Listen.
What is spent or what is being spent on?
Today, he had prostate. And at any given point
in
time,
that's an unconfirmed report.
Well, it is not confirmed, but I am telling you authoritatively that the president had.
We can't take that because that has not come from anybody.
All right.
In the presidential office,
combined,
not from his doctors.
You know we are Nigerians, but combined with some other
reports we've heard,
other impossible things that you cannot physically see with your eyes, that flies about within our society. So,
but as far as these are, anyway, let me take Daniel. Yeah. Daniel, good morning, Daniel. Good morning, Daniel. Daniel, good morning. Are you there?
Good morning.
Can I ask you, sir, to turn down the volume? Can I ask you to turn down the volume of your TV set because I can hear myself? And if that happens, you won't hear me. Thanks a lot. Go ahead. Where are you calling from, sir?
Good morning.
Where are you calling from?
Okay. Can you? I've done that.
Where are you calling from?
I can hear you. Okay.
Go ahead.
My contribution is this. You see, I've listened to the gentleman on the studio with you, and also the last caller before this present caller. You see, we are taking Nigerians for a ride. We, the citizens of Nigeria, we are really, really not serious. Why did I say there is a saying, what goes around comes around? This very president campaigned, opposed President Yar'Adua when he was in government.
That's another point.
Now today is dead. What am I saying? You see, one advice I have for Nigerians today is just simple. 2019 is just at the corner. Everybody here in diaspora and Nigeria should go, if you have the opportunity, go and register. Because I believe 2019 is going to be the critical year for Nigerians to decide where that nation is going. We predicted 2015, but it's going to be 2019. You know, I just came back from Nigeria. Nigerians are tired. We're tired of these lies. We're tired of all this deceit. You see, I've heard people are saying Diziani, money stolen, money not stolen. Look, our own investigation, because there are lots of people are doing a lot of secret investigation. This present government is 10 times corrupt than the past administration. They know why they kept Buhari in London. If I tell you the looting that is going on in that country, you'll be shocked. You'll be so shocked. But, however, we leave that for 2019. Nigerians are waiting. They are eagerly waiting for 2019. I don't believe in all these media discussions and whatever.
But Daniel, you just said, Daniel, you just said that.
Let me finish, please. Let me give you a typical example. American election just came and passed. You know, everybody was criticizing Donald Trump. Oh, sexual harassment, blah blah blah. They brought out tapes, everything. Look, Nigerians are not ready to listen about corruption or not. When the election in America, they criticized Donald Trump a lot. People thought, oh, those sexual animals would pull down the guy. No, the grassroots. People are hungry in Nigeria. People are so frustrated. The economy is down. Yeah. Nothing is working. Fashola, fashola, fashola. Look, go to Nigeria now. The power situation is worse than the way we met it, the way the PDP
but
government
Daniel, aren't the same Nigerians. But
Daniel, the truth of the matter is that I keep praying that 2019, Nigerians should go back and make the right decision. Pardon?
Daniel, you've listened to the opinions and the intentions of Nigerians. Same Nigerians that you say will determine 2019, these same Nigerians are also divided on issues. You just heard somebody call into the studio say, look, how much is it that Nigerians are even paying as taxes that they will be asking questions about how much is being spent. The same Nigerians say, look, why should we bother? I mean, so can we actually say that Nigerians are capable of taking the right decision when it comes to elections? Aren't we so divided?
Taking the bulls by the horn.
Let me tell you something. I agree. Listen. I agree with you. Hello?
Yes, I'm with you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I agree with you. Nigerians we're divided. We don't really know what we want. That's why I said 2019. You see, there's so much awareness in Nigeria. There's so much awareness. I'm so shocked. This last time, there's so much awareness in Nigeria. Look, people are not ready to listen. People are not ready to listen to all this.
But will their vote count?
I gave you a typical example about America. Everybody thought Donald Trump has lost it. Donald Trump did his own work well. He went straight to the grassroots. You know what? Excuse me. Let me finish. Why I said something about the grassroots? You see, look, the voting population of Nigeria is more of the grassroots, not the middle class. Not those that will come to the media and start analyzing the political situation in Nigeria. CNN did it. At the end of the day, what happened? They failed. What I'm trying to establish here is that Nigerians are really, really fed up.
But Daniel, Daniel, 1 minute. You and I know Nigeria.
2019, I don't know. But what I'm trying to let you know is that, see, you media, go forget. Let me finish something. Please, allow me. Hello?
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, let me say something. You see, you media, I advise you, go to the grass. Look, I saw the media team of Buhari. They came to visit him in London. I saw the show of shame. The special advisor on diaspora brought out a card. This is a card from diasporas in Nigeria that's signed. Which diaspora? Which people signed that card? Who? I mean, how long are you going to be lying to Nigeria? Who signed that card? Who?
All right, Daniel, let me let you go. Thank you so much, Daniel.
It's a shame. That's why I defied.
All right, Daniel, I'm sorry. I need to let you go. Thanks a lot, Daniel. Thank you for calling into the studio. Daniel was talking about 2019 when Nigerians in the grassroots. But aren't these same Nigerians going to be the one that will be given 1,000 naira and then they will sell their votes? Can we?
Yes,
can Nigerians be trusted when it comes to votes?
You see, I don't know whether Daniel is still living in a cocoon land or he's really on ground in Nigeria.
In some levels, we can't agree with Daniel. There's so much poverty. People are complaining. But during the election, these same Nigerians will be given 1,000 naira and they will file behind a candidate or the highest paying candidates.
You remember you and I, we've taken Nigeria through many elections
Absolutely.
and predictions in this studio. And most of the time, you, at the end of probably the hot session like we're going through now, Tunde, you ask me, Frank, what's your last word for the electorate? And I'll say to them, they should use
I've got
their
Frank.
head.
Let me take this call. Good morning, Frank. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Abuja, Nigeria.
Thank you so much. Go ahead and make your point.
Yes, I want to tell you categorically that right here in Nigeria, we are completely fed up from this government. This government has been deceitful from day one. The medical treatment of Mr. President, you know that they first told us that he was hell and happy. He was not a medical vacation. He was not sick. He was hell and happy. That was the first statement they gave us. They kept lying to us. Even when he came back, he was hidden. Nobody could see him. Nobody could hear from him. And some people called and said that people are not paying tax, and they're asking about the president. Then when it is about Dejan, you ask about Dejan's loot. Did you pay tax? You are not asking of people who are paying tax when you are asking of Dejan's loot. And now it involves president. I am asking who is paying tax. Now, do you know that this same government, this president, advised Yar'Adua to resign when he was sick? And on his own case now, he is not ready to resign. Now, you say
Frank, is it about the president not resigning now, or even Nigerians? You've heard calls from this part of the world saying,
yes,
look, why should the president resign? What law has it broken? Is it about the president resigning, or even Nigerians themselves divided about this issue?
That is the simple truth. It is not fit. And it should not, we cannot deny the fact that he's fit, and he's not fit. You know that in this year alone, he has spent 5 out of 7 months abroad.
Yeah.
We have not heard from him this year. We have not seen anything going on from his directives. Now, you say we have acting president. And if anything happens in Nigeria, they will ask the president to issue statement from London. Do we have acting president really? Is that
but the acting president is really working hard, as we've been told.
Now,
you are in Nigeria, you are in Abuja. We've been told he's doing very well.
If he's working, I'm coming. If he's working hard, why should the budget be, he take permission from the president's sick bed before he signs the budget? Why should he take permission to assign portfolios to ministers? Why should he take permission on literally everything if he's acting? He's not acting, he's just a figurehead. He's just sitting there. He's being remote controlled. I can tell you that I'm from Abuja here in Nigeria. I am seeing what is happening in Nigeria. And if you ask 1,000 people in Nigeria, I tell you that 900 will confirm what I'm telling you.
Okay, Frank, before we let you go.
Continuously moving backwards, drifting down.
Frank, before we let you go. Frank, before we let you go.
When we talk about corruption in Nigeria, it is now that the corruption is going on without any hindrance.
Okay,
Once
Frank.
you are in the APC, you don't have any problem.
Frank, before I let you go 1 minute. Frank, before I let you go 1 minute, I'm sorry, I know you're calling from Nigeria, but before I let you go, my last caller before you said 2019 will determine a lot, but we are saying, but these are the same Nigerians that will be giving just 1,000 naira or 2,000, and they will vote for the highest paying candidate. Will it make any difference in 2019 at all?
I tell you, that is not even the problem. The people can even collect the money and still vote their choice, but the problem is that the present government has hijacked INEC. They have hijacked it. They use security agents. They use everything at their disposal to reach election. They do.
All right. Okay, Frank from Abuja, Nigeria. Thank you for adding value to the program today. Thank you for calling. Our sincere appreciation to everybody who has called into the studio today. Thank you so much. We need to take a break now and get my next guest on the show. But sincerely, we want to thank everybody who has been part of the program today. Frank, your last statement on the show.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm going to say in terms of my advice is that I think I'll send this to His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Go back to your country. If you need to fly those doctors back to Nigeria, go back. Your country is in a turmoil. You need to go back. Nigeria is burning. There is no money. There is hunger. There's poverty. There's everything in that land. President, Your country needs you. We voted for you. I campaigned vigorously as well for you to make sure that you get to where you are today. Please go back. Do not allow people like Charlie Boy to hijack your government, or you sit here whilst revolution looms on Nigeria. So please go back.
All right, Frank Bello, thank you for being part of the program.
Thank you very much.
To have you join us on the program.
Thank you very much, Sunday.
We'll take a break now, and I bring in my next guest. Don't go away, the program is still on.
Impacts and create the platform to hear your silent and unheard views in this hugely green community in the United Kingdom. Our channel